Elvis Presley died in 1977, but his career did not end. It exploded into a multi-million dollar industry. He makes more money dead than most living superstars. And 2020, Forbes listed him as the fifth highest earning dead celebrity, pulling in $23 million. How does a man who passed away decades ago keep earning so much? Is it just his music or is something else at play? What genius strategies, planned or accidental, built this enduring financial empire? It's not just about fame, it's about business. Number 16. How did Graceland become a perpetual money machine? Graceland is more than just a house. It is the cornerstone of Elvis Presley's posthumous economic empire. After Elvis died in 1977, the estate faced serious financial trouble. Costs were high, taxes were due, and money was running out. Priscilla Presley, Elvis's former wife, took charge in 1980. She knew they had to do something drastic. Her bold move was to open Graceland to the public as a museum. This happened on June 7th, 1982. At the time, many thought it was a terrible idea. It was a private home full of Elvis's personal items. But Priscilla saw its potential. She understood that fans wanted to connect with Elvis in a real, tangible way. They wanted to walk where he walked, see what he saw. The gamble paid off immediately. In its first year, Graceland drew over 500,000 visitors. This generated about $10 million in revenue. That was enough to pay off the debts and secure the estate's future. Graceland quickly became a major tourist attraction, second only to the White House in terms of famous homes visited in the U.S. Over the years, it expanded beyond just the mansion. They added museums for his cars, planes, and outfits. Shops opened, selling every kind of Elvis merchandise imaginable. These additions created more revenue streams. The turning point was not just opening the house, but how it was managed. Elvis Presley Enterprises, EPE, was formed to manage Graceland and all other Elvis-related business ventures. EPE made sure the Graceland experience was always top-notch, keeping fans coming back and attracting new ones. They invested in making the visit smooth and engaging, with audio tours and well-maintained exhibits. This focus on visitor experience was crucial. It transformed a potential liability, a large, expensive house, into a highly profitable asset. In 2013, Authentic Brands Group ABG acquired an 85% stake in EPE, including the rights to Elvis's image and name. This brought fresh capital and global marketing expertise. However, the Presley family still owns Graceland itself and its immediate surrounding property. The deal was complex, showing the intricate financial structure built around Elvis. Today, Graceland draws around 600,000 visitors annually in normal years. It is a major economic engine for Memphis, Tennessee, and for the Elvis estate. Its success proved that a physical location tied to a celebrity could become a self-sustaining revenue generator. It showed the power of fan pilgrimage. But what if Priscilla had chosen a different path? What if the initial visitor numbers had been low? Would the entire Elvis financial empire have collapsed before it even began? Could a lesser-known manager have pulled off such a risky move? We still do not fully understand the exact financial projections and fallback plans made in 1981 before Graceland opened, and how much of Graceland's continued success relies on repeat visitors versus new generations of fans. Number 15 was his music catalog truly future-proofed by wise deals. Elvis Presley's music catalog is a goldmine, perhaps the most important asset of his entire estate. But how it was managed and what deals were struck played a huge role in its long-term profitability. During his lifetime, Elvis signed contracts with RCA Records. These deals, often negotiated by his manager Colonel Tom Parker, were sometimes criticized for being less favorable to Elvis than they could have been. For instance, Colonel Parker famously negotiated a deal where he took 50% of Elvis's earnings, which was unheard of for a manager. This included a significant cut of publishing rights for songs like Heartbreak Hotel. But these contracts also ensured a steady stream of releases and widespread distribution for decades. After Elvis's death, managing his music catalog became crucial. The estate had to make sure the music continued to be heard and earn money. This involved careful handling of publishing rights and master recordings. Publishing rights generate royalties every time a song is played on the radio, streamed, used in a film, or performed live. Master recordings generate revenue from sales, downloads, and streaming. EPE worked to keep these masters in circulation and to license them for various uses. A significant shift happened in 2022. Universal Music Publishing Group UMPG acquired the publishing catalog of Elvis Presley. This deal was reported to be worth a substantial sum, though the exact figure was not disclosed. It covered Elvis's entire catalog of hits, including classics like Can't Help Falling in Love, Jailhouse Rock, and Hound Dog. This acquisition by a major music publishing company shows the immense and enduring value of Elvis's songs. It means UMPG will now actively work to place his music in new films, TV shows, advertisements, and digital platforms, ensuring its continued relevance and revenue generation. The deal allowed the Presley estate and ABG to monetize a core asset while ensuring professional global management of the songs. This move was strategic. It provided a large cash injection and offloaded the complex management of music rights to an industry giant. It also separated the publishing rights from the master recordings, which are still owned by Sony Music, which acquired RCA Records. This diversification of ownership and management across different entities, ABG for image, UMPG for publishing, Sony for masters, demonstrates a sophisticated approach to asset management. It allows each aspect of the Elvis brand to be handled by specialists. The wisdom of these deals, particularly the UMPG acquisition, lies in securing a long-term income stream and ensuring the music's presence in a constantly evolving media landscape. It effectively future-proofed the catalog against changing music consumption habits by putting it in the hands of a company with vast reach and expertise. But did Colonel Parker's initial deals limit the true earning potential of the catalog for decades after Elvis's death? Could the estate have held onto the publishing rights for longer and managed them more profitably in-house? And what specific clauses in the 2022 UMPG deal protect the legacy or dictate how the music can be used creatively in the future? Number 14. How did merchandise licensing keep his image fresh and profitable? Merchandise licensing has been a cornerstone of Elvis Presley's posthumous earnings. It is how his image and name extend far beyond music and Graceland. From the earliest days of his career, Elvis was a marketing phenomenon. His manager, Colonel Tom Parker, was a pioneer in celebrity merchandising. He understood that fans wanted tangible pieces of their idol. Items like I Love Elvis buttons, scarves, and records were hugely popular even in the 1950s. This tradition continued and expanded exponentially after his death. After 1977, the estate, through EPE, systematically licensed Elvis's image and likeness for a vast array of products. This wasn't just about cashing in, it was about keeping Elvis in the public eye. Every t-shirt, coffee mug, keychain, or collectible plate featuring his face or signature was a small advertisement. It kept his brand visible in homes and stores worldwide. The sheer volume and variety of licensed products are staggering. You can find Elvis on everything from calendars and clothing to board games, commemorative coins, and even food items. The key to successful licensing is careful control and quality. EPE and later ABG have maintained strict guidelines for how Elvis's image can be used. This prevents cheap, unauthorized knockoffs from diluting the brand. It also ensures that licensed products meet a certain quality standard, reflecting positively on Elvis's legacy. This strategy allows the estate to generate income without directly manufacturing or selling these items. Instead, companies pay a royalty fee to use Elvis's name and likeness. This creates a passive yet substantial revenue stream. A good example is the numerous Elvis collectible plates or figurines produced by companies like the Bradford Exchange. These items tap into a demographic willing to spend on nostalgic, high-quality memorabilia. The licensing strategy also extends to more innovative products. For instance, there have been Elvis-themed slot machines in casinos, capitalizing on his Las Vegas connection. Special edition Elvis guitars or instruments are sold to musicians and collectors. These targeted licensing deals demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of different market segments. By allowing various companies to create products, the estate leverages their manufacturing and distribution capabilities. This strategy makes the Elvis brand ubiquitous, appealing to different ages and interests. It ensures that even if someone isn't buying his music, they might still buy an Elvis product, keeping him economically relevant. This pervasive presence helps to introduce new generations to Elvis, as younger people encounter his image on clothing or other items, sparking curiosity. But how much revenue is truly lost to unauthorized merchandise, despite the estate's efforts? Are there specific types of products that hurt or help the brand more than others? And how do they decide, which licensing deals to approve or deny given, the sheer volume of requests, without diluting the brand's premium value? Number 13, what role did the Colonel play in setting up a posthumous empire? Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis Presley's manager, is a controversial figure. Many accuse him of exploiting Elvis, signing unfavorable deals, and controlling every aspect of his life. Yet, it's undeniable that Parker played a foundational role in building the machinery that would sustain Elvis's wealth, even after his death. He was a master marketer and negotiator, albeit with a dubious ethical compass. Parker's influence began early. He signed Elvis in 1955 and quickly landed him a deal with RCA Records. Parker pushed for Elvis to enter movies, securing contracts for films like Love Me Tender 1956, Jailhouse Rock 1957, and many more. While these films were often formulaic and artistically limiting for Elvis, they made him a global superstar and solidified his image. They ensured a constant presence in popular culture, creating a vast archive of visual material that could be reused and monetized for decades. This steady output, even if creatively stagnant, built an unparalleled celebrity profile. Crucially, Parker was very protective of Elvis's name and likeness. He was one of the first managers to aggressively license merchandise. As early as the 1950s, he orchestrated deals for everything from toy guitars to charm bracelets, generating millions. This laid the groundwork for the extensive merchandising empire that thrives today. He understood that a celebrity's image was a brand, a concept far ahead of its time. He trademarked the name Elvis Presley and his likeness, which was revolutionary. This foresight provided the legal basis for the estate to control and profit from Elvis's image after his death. Without these early protections, the posthumous merchandising efforts would have been far more difficult and less profitable, if not impossible. The famous 50-50 split between Parker and Elvis also extended to the estate after Elvis's death. This meant Parker continued to earn from Elvis's image and music. While this was criticized, it also meant Parker had a vested interest in the continued commercial success of the Elvis brand. He actively negotiated deals for re-releases and other projects in the years immediately following Elvis's passing. His strong, often ruthless business acumen created a machine that could run on its own. He established the commercial systems and the legal framework that the estate would later refine and expand. His influence on the contracts with RCA and the film studios meant that Elvis's work was distributed globally, building a worldwide audience that continues to support the estate today. However, Parker's deals were also responsible for some of the estate's early financial struggles. His sale of Elvis's publishing rights for many songs for a lump sum, rather than retaining future royalties, cost the estate untold millions. This decision, driven by short-term cash needs, was a major missed opportunity. Yet, his fundamental creation of brand Elvis and his aggressive early merchandising strategies provided a durable foundation. He built the structure others later filled it with money. But how much more would Elvis have earned had Parker negotiated more favorable long-term deals, especially concerning publishing? Did Parker intentionally create contracts that would ensure his own financial stability long after Elvis's death, at the expense of the estate? And how did his unique, almost carnival barker style of management inadvertently create an emotional connection with fans that transcended typical celebrity worship, solidifying his enduring marketability? Number 12. How do strategic posthumous album releases maintain market presence? Keeping an artist's music relevant decades after their death is a huge challenge. For Elvis, strategic posthumous album releases have been critical to maintaining his market presence and introducing him to new audiences. The Elvis estate and its partners have masterfully mined his vast catalog of unreleased recordings, alternate takes, and live performances to create new products. This isn't just about selling old songs, it's about repackaging them, recontextualizing them, and presenting them in fresh ways. One of the most successful examples is Elvis 30 Own Hits, released in 2002. This compilation album brought together all of Elvis's US and UK #1 singles. It was a massive global success, selling over 9 million copies in the US alone and hitting #1 in numerous countries. This album was strategically released at a time when music consumption was shifting, and it appealed to both longtime fans and a younger generation who might only know a few of his songs. It offered a definitive, accessible entry point into his discography. The album's success showed that carefully curated greatest hits packages could still dominate the charts. Another innovative approach has been the If I Can Dream Elvis Presley with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra album, released in 2015. This project took original vocal tracks by Elvis and added new orchestral arrangements performed by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. It was a huge hit, becoming Elvis's 12th #1 album in the UK. This album and its follow-up, The Wonder of You 2016, demonstrated a willingness to experiment and modernize Elvis's sound without compromising his core appeal. These albums proved that Elvis's voice could blend seamlessly with contemporary production, attracting a new demographic who appreciate orchestral music or might be drawn in by the novelty of the concept. It expanded his reach beyond traditional rock and roll fans. Beyond these major releases, there's a steady stream of archival material. FTD, follow that Dream Records, established in 1999, is a specialty label dedicated to releasing rare and unreleased Elvis recordings, studio outtakes, and live performances for serious collectors. These releases cater to the hardcore fan base, providing a continuous supply of new material. This strategy keeps the most dedicated fans engaged and investing in the brand, while the mainstream releases target a broader audience. The success of these posthumous releases isn't accidental. It involves careful timing, quality production, and effective marketing. The estate has consistently worked with record labels, primarily Sony Music, which owns the RCA catalog, to ensure these releases are promoted globally. They understand that each new album keeps Elvis's name in the news, on streaming playlists, and in record stores, preventing him from fading into obscurity. This strategy of continuous varied music releases creates a dynamic presence, proving that even a dead artist can have a vibrant and evolving discography. But how many truly new tracks are left in the vault? And what is the long-term plan for managing their scarcity and release schedule? Could an oversaturation of posthumous material eventually diminish the value of each release? And how do they ethically balance modernizing Elvis's sound with preserving the integrity of his original recordings, ensuring authenticity remains paramount? Number 11, did his brand actively embrace new media as it emerged? For an icon from the mid-20th century, staying relevant in the digital age is a significant challenge. The Elvis Presley brand has actively embraced new media as it emerged, a crucial economic strategy for reaching new generations and maintaining visibility. This wasn't always immediate or perfect, but the commitment to digital presence has been clear. In the early days of the internet, Elvis Presley Enterprises established Elvis.com, a comprehensive official website. This site became the central hub for all things Elvis, offering news, archives, merchandise, and information about Graceland. It provided a direct channel for the estate to communicate with fans, control the narrative, and sell products without relying solely on traditional media. As social media grew, the Elvis brand quickly established a strong presence on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and later TikTok. The official Elvis Presley Facebook page, for example, has millions of followers. These platforms are used to share rare photos, historical facts, promote new releases, and engage directly with fans. This strategy keeps Elvis in the daily feed of millions, making him a part of contemporary culture, not just a historical figure. The estate has also explored more immersive and innovative digital experiences. There have been discussions and proposals for Elvis holograms or virtual reality concerts following the success of similar ventures for other deceased artists. While a full-scale hologram tour has not yet materialized, the intent to explore these technologies shows a forward-thinking approach. The goal is to create new ways for people to experience Elvis, even if he's not physically present. These advanced digital platforms offer the potential for entirely new revenue streams, from ticket sales for virtual performances to licensing for VR content. Streaming services have become dominant in music consumption. The Elvis catalog is fully available on all major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. This ensures his music is easily accessible to anyone, anywhere. The estate also works with these platforms to create curated playlists and promote his tracks, adapting to how modern audiences discover music. The film, Elvis, 2022 by Baz Luhrmann, also showcased the brand's willingness to engage with contemporary storytelling, sparking renewed interest in his music and life, particularly among younger viewers. The soundtrack of the film performed well on streaming services. By actively participating in digital spaces, the Elvis brand avoids becoming a dusty relic. It continuously reinvents its presence, adapting to how people consume entertainment and information. This strategy ensures that Elvis remains accessible, visible, and economically viable in a rapidly changing media landscape. It bridges the gap between generations, allowing new fans to discover him through channels they already use. But how effectively does the estate use data from social media and streaming to tailor content and marketing efforts? Is there a risk of over-digitizing or creating a virtual Elvis that feels inauthentic to longtime fans? And what are the ethical considerations and fan reactions to potential future technologies like AI-generated performances or interactions with an Elvis chatbot? Number 10. What impact did his enduring cultural icon status have on his economic value? Elvis Presley isn't just a singer. He's a cultural icon, a symbol of rock and roll, American culture, and a bygone era. This enduring status as a cultural icon is perhaps his most powerful and tangible economic asset. It means his value transcends mere record sales or merchandise. He represents something larger which constantly fuels his marketability. His image is instantly recognizable worldwide. The pompadour, the sideburns, the jumpsuit, these are universal symbols. This recognition is not limited by language or geography. Research by cultural historians and marketing experts consistently points to Elvis as one of the most recognizable faces in history. This widespread recognition makes him an ideal subject for advertising, documentaries, and films. Companies want to associate their brands with his timeless coolness and rebellious spirit. When an advertiser uses an Elvis song or image, they're not just buying a track. They're tapping into decades of cultural meaning and instant brand recognition. His iconic status also means he represents nostalgia for multiple generations. For baby boomers, he embodies their youth. For subsequent generations, he represents an idealized version of mid-20th century America. This powerful sense of nostalgia drives sales of everything from records to memorabilia. It fosters a deep emotional connection among fans, which translates into purchasing power. Books like Elvis Presley: A Southern Life by Joel Williamson explore how deeply embedded Elvis is in the American narrative, not just as an entertainer, but as a cultural phenomenon. Furthermore, Elvis's image is continually reinterpreted and referenced in popular culture. Artists sample his music, filmmakers make biopics, and fashion designers draw inspiration from his style. This constant referencing keeps him relevant and ensures he's always part of the cultural conversation. The recent Elvis movie by Baz Luhrmann, 2022, is a prime example. The film reignited interest in Elvis, topping box office charts and introducing him to a new generation. This kind of cultural resurgence is invaluable, proving that his iconic status can be reactivated and monetized. It shows that he is not just a relic, but a living, breathing part of modern storytelling. His iconic status also allows for unique brand partnerships that might not be available to other deceased celebrities. For instance, luxury brands might collaborate with the estate to create high-end Elvis-themed products, leveraging his enduring association with glamour and rock and roll cool. This ability to appeal to both mass markets and niche luxury segments highlights the versatility of his cultural capital. This intangible cultural value acts as a perpetual marketing machine, generating interest and revenue without direct advertising. But is there a point where his image becomes overused or diluted by too many cultural references? How can the estate measure the true economic value of iconic status beyond direct revenue streams? And what strategies are in place to ensure his cultural significance remains potent for generations born long after his passing, who have no direct memory of him? Number 9, how did legal protection of his image and name safeguard his earnings? The legal protection of Elvis Presley's image and name has been a paramount strategy in safeguarding his posthumous earnings. Without robust intellectual property IP enforcement, unauthorized use would dilute his brand and siphon off potential revenue. From the very beginning, his estate understood the critical importance of controlling Elvis's identity. After Elvis's death, his estate faced a significant challenge: widespread unauthorized merchandise and impersonators. People were selling everything from cheap t-shirts to posters, using his image and name without permission, or paying royalties. This was not just a legal issue, it was an economic threat. It meant that money that should have gone to the estate was going to unauthorized sellers, and the quality of these products often harmed the brand's reputation. In 1981, Elvis Presley Enterprises EPE was established. One of its primary functions was to aggressively pursue legal action against infringers. EPE embarked on a series of lawsuits to assert control over Elvis's name, likeness, and trademarks. This was a pioneering effort in the field of deceased celebrity rights. At the time, laws concerning personality rights the right of individuals to control the commercial use of their name, image, and likeness were not as developed as they are today. The estate had to fight to establish precedents. A notable case involved a restaurant called the Elvis restaurant, which EPE sued for trademark infringement. These early victories were crucial because they set legal benchmarks, sending a clear message that the Elvis brand would be protected. The estate has registered numerous trademarks related to Elvis, including his name, signatures, images, and even specific phrases. This extensive registration provides a legal basis to prevent others from using these elements commercially without a license. Every time a company wants to use an Elvis song in an advertisement, an image on a product, or even reference him in a movie, they must obtain a license from EPE or its current owners, Authentic Brands Group and Sony Universal for Music. This licensing process ensures a steady revenue stream for the estate. For example, when a major brand like Harley-Davidson wanted to create Elvis-themed motorcycles, they paid a significant fee for the right to use his image. This aggressive legal strategy is not just about stopping infringers, it's about maintaining the value and integrity of the brand. By controlling who uses Elvis's image and for what purpose, the estate ensures that only high-quality approved products and projects are associated with his name. This prevents the brand from being cheapened or associated with inappropriate content. It's an ongoing process as new forms of media and new methods of infringement constantly emerge, requiring vigilant monitoring and legal action. The legal team works tirelessly to protect their most valuable assets. But how many legal battles did the estate truly fight, and what were the total costs incurred in defending these rights over the decades? Does the current legal framework for deceased celebrity rights adequately protect historical figures like Elvis? Or are there still loopholes? And how do they balance aggressive enforcement with fostering new, creative uses of his image that might appeal to a new generation but push traditional boundaries? Number 8 was the estate's diversification beyond music, a key to sustained wealth. Elvis Presley's estate understood early on that relying solely on music sales was not a sustainable long-term strategy for sustained wealth. Diversification beyond music has been a key factor in ensuring his continued economic success. Music is foundational, but the estate built an entire ecosystem around the brand. The most significant diversification, as mentioned, was the opening of Graceland in 1982. This transformed a residential property into a major tourist attraction, generating millions in revenue from ticket sales, gift shops, and later, hotels and entertainment complexes. The Guest House at Graceland, a luxury hotel opened in 2016, is another example of this expansion beyond simple tourism, offering a complete hospitality experience. This move brought in entirely new revenue streams that were not directly tied to album sales or publishing royalties. It created a physical destination that anchored the entire Elvis brand. Beyond Graceland and merchandise, the estate has leveraged Elvis's legacy in other entertainment forms. This includes documentaries, television specials, and major motion pictures. The 2022 Baz Luhrmann film, Elvis, was not just a tribute, it was a massive commercial venture. The estate collaborated closely with the filmmakers, providing access to archives and ensuring authenticity. This partnership led to significant licensing fees and renewed interest in all aspects of the Elvis brand, from music streaming to Graceland visits. Similarly, projects like the HBO documentary Elvis Presley the Searcher 2018 showcase a more serious, in-depth look at his career, appealing to a different audience segment while still generating licensing revenue. The estate also diversified into different types of merchandise, moving beyond basic fan items. They partnered with companies to create high-end collectibles, limited edition items, and even luxury goods. For example, specialized Elvis-themed jewelry lines or custom cars. This taps into different consumer markets, ranging from casual fans to serious collectors with significant disposable income. It allowed the brand to occupy different price points and appeal to various demographics. This strategy of diversification spreads risk. If music sales decline due to changing consumption habits, revenue from Graceland, film projects, or specialized merchandise can pick up the slack. It also ensures multiple touchpoints for fans and consumers, keeping the brand alive in various forms of media and commerce. By creating a multifaceted business, the estate ensures that Elvis's economic engine has many moving parts, making it more resilient and adaptive to market changes. It's about building a robust Elvis Inc. rather than just managing a music catalog. But Could the estate have diversified into other industries even further, such as technology or fashion, without diluting the core brand? What was the tipping point where the family realized music alone would not sustain the estate's future? And how do they measure the synergistic effect of these different revenue streams? And for instance, how much does a film project directly boost Graceland visits or merchandise sales? Number 7, how did they cultivate and monetize his global fan base effectively? Elvis Presley's appeal transcends national borders, and the cultivation and monetization of his global fan base have been crucial to his sustained economic success. His estate understood that fans outside the US represented a vast untapped market. From his early career, Elvis was a global sensation. His music resonated with audiences in Europe, Asia, and beyond. Colonel Parker made sure his records were distributed internationally. After his death, maintaining and growing this global footprint became a priority. Elvis Presley Enterprises (EPE) actively supported official fan clubs around the world. These clubs served as local hubs, organizing events, sharing news, and keeping the passion alive. This decentralized network of fan engagement was a powerful organic marketing tool. It fostered loyalty and created a sense of community among fans, regardless of their location. The books like Elvis in Germany by Andreas Schroer detail his specific impact in certain international markets. And Graceland itself attracts a significant number of international visitors. The estate has invested in multilingual tours and marketing campaigns to make the pilgrimage accessible to non-English speakers. These international visitors contribute directly to Graceland's revenue and often purchase merchandise, further spreading the brand globally. They effectively turned Graceland into an international landmark, not just an American one. The estate has also pursued licensing and distribution deals globally for music and merchandise. This means that an Elvis album or a branded t-shirt is available in Tokyo, London, or Sydney, just as it is in Memphis. The Elvis 31 Hits album, released in 2002, was a global phenomenon, hitting #1 in numerous countries, including the UK, Australia, and Canada. This showed the enduring power of his music across cultures. Similarly, the orchestral albums with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra found immense success in Europe, especially the UK. More recently, the Elvis movie by Baz Luhrmann had a massive international release. Its global box office success, reaching over $287 million worldwide, introduced Elvis to a new generation of international viewers. This film generated buzz, led to increased streaming of his music in various countries, and likely boosted Graceland attendance from overseas. The estate actively participates in film festivals and cultural events globally to keep Elvis in the international spotlight. They understand that cultural relevance in one country can spark interest in another. This global strategy isn't just about selling, it's about maintaining a universal appeal that constantly renews interest in his legacy. But how many dedicated fan clubs still exist outside the US, and what is the estate's specific strategy for engaging with them in the digital age? Are there particular cultural nuances or marketing approaches that have been more successful in specific international markets than others? And how do they measure the overall economic contribution of his international fan base versus his domestic one? Number 6, did the estate master the art of the nostalgia industry? The Elvis Presley estate has undeniably mastered the art of the nostalgia industry, turning cherished memories and longing for the past into a powerful economic engine. For millions, Elvis is more than music. He represents a golden era, a feeling, a youthful memory. The estate has brilliantly tapped into this emotional wellspring. This mastery began with Graceland. The mansion itself is a preserved time capsule, offering a direct portal to Elvis's life in the 1970s. For fans who grew up with Elvis, visiting Graceland is a pilgrimage, a way to reconnect with their youth and an idol. The carefully curated exhibits evoke a powerful sense of nostalgia, making visitors feel like they are stepping back in time. This emotional connection transforms a simple tour into a deeply personal experience, fostering loyalty and repeat visits. The experience plays on emotions rather than just facts. Merchandise plays a huge role in the nostalgia industry. Their products featuring Elvis's classic images, album art, or concert posters allow fans to own a piece of their past. Collectibles, such as limited edition figurines or commemorative items, appeal strongly to those who remember Elvis and want to preserve that memory. Companies like the Bradford Exchange specialize in this type of nostalgia marketing, creating high-quality, often expensive, items that resonate with an older demographic with disposable income. These products are not just bought for utility, they are bought for sentiment. The estate also capitalizes on nostalgia through re-releases and media projects. Elvis, 31 hits 2002 allowed older fans to relive their favorite songs in a convenient package, while the orchestral albums offered a fresh, yet familiar, take on his classics. Documentaries and films like Baz Luhrmann's Elvis 2022, while also attracting new fans, deeply engage with the nostalgic feelings of older audiences by meticulously recreating the look and feel of his era. These projects allow fans to re-experience Elvis through a modern lens, but with a strong pull to the past. The key to mastering nostalgia is understanding its emotional drivers, comfort, familiarity, and a longing for simpler times. The estate provides numerous opportunities for fans to indulge in these feelings, turning emotional attachment into economic transactions. The narrative around Elvis emphasizes his unique contribution to culture and his enduring presence, rather than just focusing on his tragic end. This keeps the focus on the positive aspects of his legacy, which fuels positive nostalgic feelings. This careful cultivation of memory ensures that Elvis remains a beloved figure whose image and music continue to evoke powerful emotions that translate into sales. But is there a risk that constantly playing to nostalgia might prevent the brand from truly innovating and attracting entirely new, younger demographics? How will the estate maintain this nostalgia-driven income stream as the primary fan base ages? And what specific psychological research or marketing studies informed the estate's strategies for tapping into the human desire for the past? Number 5, what part did high-profile collaborations play in keeping him relevant? Keeping a deceased artist relevant means finding creative ways to introduce their work to new audiences. For Elvis, high-profile collaborations, even if virtual, have played a significant part in keeping him in the spotlight and economically viable. These collaborations bridge generational gaps and show his versatility. One notable collaboration, though not directly with a living artist, was the If I Can Dream Elvis Presley with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra album 2015. This project took original Elvis vocal tracks and layered them with new, lush orchestral arrangements. While it wasn't a duet with another singer, it was a collaboration with a world-renowned orchestra and modern producers. This innovative approach created a fresh sound that appealed to both classic Elvis fans and those who enjoy classical crossover music. It showed that Elvis's voice could be recontextualized and still sound powerful and moving. The album's massive success in the UK and globally proved that these kinds of creative collaborations could generate immense interest in sales. While direct duets with living artists have been less frequent due to the complexities of his vocal tracks and estate approval, the idea of collaboration keeps him relevant. For example, there were discussions and fan hopes for a virtual duet with Celine Dion, which would have been a massive event. Though it didn't fully materialize in a commercial release, the conversation itself highlights the potential and the estate's openness to such projects. These discussions keep Elvis's name associated with contemporary artists and demonstrate his continued influence. More indirectly, but equally powerful, are collaborations with modern artists who sample his music or explicitly reference him in their own work. This isn't a direct financial collaboration for the estate in the same way as an album project, but it generates immense cultural capital. When a popular contemporary artist like Post Malone, who is a massive Elvis fan, references Elvis, it introduces his legacy to a new, younger audience. The estate likely benefits from the increased streaming and discovery that follows such mentions. Similarly, the Elvis movie soundtrack 2022 featured modern artists like Doja Cat. Vegas and Casey Musgraves Can't Help Falling in Love, effectively creating new collaborations that put Elvis's music alongside current hits, making it accessible to a younger demographic. These high-profile projects, whether orchestral reimaginings or indirect cultural references, keep Elvis in the musical conversation. They demonstrate that his appeal isn't confined to a specific era, but can adapt and resonate across different musical landscapes. This willingness to allow innovative interpretations while maintaining the integrity of his original recordings is key to his sustained relevance and economic health. It ensures that he remains a dynamic force in music, not just a static legend. But what specific living artists have the estate actively pursued for potential posthumous duets, and what were the reasons for those projects not moving forward? Is there a risk of these collaborations becoming too gimmicky or diluting the raw authenticity of Elvis's original recordings? And how does the estate measure the long-term impact of these collaborations on attracting genuinely new fans versus just reigniting interest among existing ones? Number 4. How did managing his narrative shape his enduring appeal and marketability? Managing Elvis Presley's narrative has been an essential strategy for shaping his enduring appeal and marketability. A consistent, powerful story around a celebrity can be a more potent economic driver than any single product. The estate understood the importance of controlling how the world remembers Elvis. After his death, the initial narrative was often focused on his tragic decline and drug issues. This was a challenging period for the estate. Priscilla Presley and EPE made a conscious effort to shift this narrative. They focused on celebrating his unprecedented musical achievements, his charisma, his impact on culture, and his generosity. Graceland itself serves as a narrative device, meticulously presenting Elvis's life story in a way that emphasizes his humble beginnings, his meteoric rise, and his enduring legacy as the king of rock and roll. It focuses on his triumphs, not his struggles. This narrative management involves carefully curating content across all platforms. The official website, social media channels, documentaries, and authorized biographies all work to tell a consistent story that highlights his positive contributions and mythic status. For example, books like Careless Love, The Unmaking of Elvis Presley by Peter Guralnick offer a detailed, balanced look at his life, but the estate generally promotes works that emphasize his positive impact and artistic genius. The aim is to reinforce his iconic status. Major media projects are crucial for narrative control. The 2022 film Elvis by Baz Luhrmann is a prime example. While it touched on the darker aspects of his life and his relationship with Colonel Parker, it ultimately presented Elvis as a misunderstood genius, a force of nature, and a true artist. The film was a huge commercial success and critically acclaimed, successfully reintroducing his legend to a global audience. The estate's involvement in such projects allows them to influence the portrayal and ensure the narrative aligns with the brand's long-term vision. This careful stewardship of his story ensures that he remains a heroic, aspirational figure rather than a cautionary tale. This managed narrative is not about erasing the truth, but about emphasizing certain aspects of his life that contribute to his enduring appeal. It ensures that his story continues to inspire and entertain, rather than simply fading into history. This strategy cultivates a powerful emotional connection with fans, fostering loyalty that translates into continuous engagement and spending. The narrative builds brand equity, making Elvis more than just a musician. He becomes a timeless legend. It ensures that every new generation hears the King's story. But what specific historical moments or aspects of his life has the estate deliberately downplayed or chosen not to highlight in official narratives? How much creative control does the estate exert over independent documentaries or books about Elvis, and where do they draw the line? And what are the long-term psychological impacts of maintaining such a carefully constructed narrative on the public's perception of a complex historical figure? Number 3, were strategic brand partnerships essential for reaching new audiences? As strategic brand partnerships have been essential for the Elvis Presley estate to reach new audiences and expand its economic footprint beyond traditional fan bases. These collaborations allow Elvis's brand to piggyback on the marketing efforts and customer bases of other successful companies, bringing him into unexpected places. A prime example involves consumer product partnerships. The estate has licensed Elvis's image and name to various brands, from apparel companies to food producers. For instance, you might find Elvis-themed collectible Coca-Cola bottles or specialized clothing lines. These partnerships introduce Elvis to people who might not actively seek out his music or visit Graceland, but are loyal customers of the partner brand. When a brand like Harley-Davidson creates Elvis-themed motorcycles, it taps into the motorcycle community, a group that might overlap with Elvis fans, but also brings in new enthusiasts drawn to the unique product. These unique co-branded products create novelty and desirability. Gaming is another area of strategic partnership. Elvis-themed slot machines and casinos, for example, capitalize on his association with Las Vegas. These games introduce his image and music to a demographic that enjoys gaming, creating an entertainment experience that is directly tied to his brand. While some might view this as commercializing his image, it undeniably generates significant revenue and keeps his presence alive in a high-traffic entertainment sector. It ensures Elvis is part of the contemporary entertainment landscape. Fashion collaborations have also been key. Elvis's iconic style, from his early rebellious look to his later flamboyant jumpsuits, has influenced designers for decades. The estate has engaged in partnerships with fashion brands to create modern clothing lines or accessories inspired by his wardrobe. This introduces Elvis to fashion-conscious consumers, particularly younger ones who may not be familiar with his music but appreciate his style. These collaborations show the versatility of his brand beyond music. They demonstrate that Elvis is a lifestyle. These partnerships are not just about licensing, they are about leveraging mutual brand equity. A well-chosen partner can lend credibility and coolness to the Elvis brand, while Elvis lends his iconic status and recognition to the partner. This symbiotic relationship helps both parties. For the estate, it provides a low-risk way to diversify revenue streams and expand market reach without having to invest heavily in developing new products or marketing campaigns itself. The partner company handles the manufacturing, distribution, and marketing, paying a royalty for the privilege of associating with the king. This strategy is about smart leverage, but how does the estate carefully select brand partners to ensure alignment with Elvis's legacy and avoid damaging his image? Have any brand partnerships proven unsuccessful or generated negative feedback from fans, and what lessons were learned? And what are the precise economic metrics they use to determine if a brand partnership has successfully reached new audiences versus just serving existing ones? Number 2, how did a sense of scarcity around certain items boost their value? While the Elvis Presley estate has pursued widespread merchandising, it has also strategically cultivated a sense of scarcity around certain items. This scarcity principle is a powerful economic tool, driving up demand, increasing perceived value, and creating a robust collector's market. Not everything can be mass-produced. Some things must remain rare to hold their mystique and price. The estate, and particularly its specialized labels like Follow That Dream FTD Records, understands this well. FTD was established in 1999, specifically to cater to serious collectors. It releases limited edition CDs and books, often featuring unreleased recordings, alternate takes, or rare live performances. These releases are not widely distributed in mainstream stores, but are sold directly to collectors. The limited production runs create immediate demand. Fans know that if they don't buy a particular FTD release quickly, it will likely sell out and become much harder to acquire, often only at higher prices on the secondary market. This controlled scarcity keeps the most dedicated fans constantly engaged and willing to pay premium prices. Beyond music, physical memorabilia from Elvis's life also benefits from scarcity. Authentic items, such as his stage outfits, personal effects, or signed documents, are inherently rare. The estate or collectors meticulously authenticate these items. When these go up for auction, they fetch incredibly high prices. For example, a stage-worn jumpsuit might sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is not just because of the item itself, but because it is a unique, irreplaceable piece of history connected to an icon. The scarcity of truly authentic, personal items creates an elite tier of collectibles. Even for broader merchandise, the estate sometimes releases limited edition collections. For instance, specific commemorative coins, high-end figurines, or special edition vinyl records are produced in finite numbers. These items are often marketed as limited or collector's editions. This tactic taps into the human desire for unique possessions and the fear of missing out. It creates a secondary market where these items appreciate in value, further enhancing the perception of their special status. The estate also carefully manages the release of archival footage or photographs, sometimes holding back certain material to release later, ensuring there's always something new and raw for fans to anticipate. This balance between mass market availability for broad appeal and carefully managed scarcity for premium value is a sophisticated economic strategy. It ensures that the Elvis brand caters to both casual fans and high-spending collectors. The scarcity principle maintains an aura of exclusivity around certain aspects of his legacy, preventing oversaturation and continuously driving value. It shows that even a globally recognized brand can leverage rarity. But how does the estate determine the optimal number for a limited edition release to maximize profit without frustrating fans or allowing counterfeits to proliferate? Have any attempts to create scarcity backfired, leading to fan discontent or a perception of artificial manipulation? And how do they ethically manage the sale of Elvis's truly personal items, ensuring respect for his privacy while still monetizing his legacy through their rarity. Number 1. What does the future hold for an icon whose audience ages? The ultimate challenge for any deceased celebrity estate is ensuring long-term relevance and economic viability as the primary audience ages and new generations emerge. For Elvis Presley, whose core fans are now elderly, the future demands continuous innovation and adaptation. What does the future hold for an icon whose audience ages? It means finding new ways to connect with people who never saw him live. One key strategy for the future is continuing to embrace new technologies and platforms. This includes further exploration of immersive digital experiences like virtual reality VR concerts, augmented reality AR content, and even AI-driven interactive experiences. Imagine a virtual Elvis guide at Graceland or an AI that can answer questions about his life and music. These technologies offer novel ways to experience Elvis, potentially captivating younger audiences who are native to digital environments. The estate will need to invest in these cutting-edge developments to maintain a dynamic presence. Another critical path is through strategic cultural interventions like the Baz Luhrmann film, Elvis 2022. Such major cinematic releases are powerful tools for introducing Elvis to new generations, sparking their curiosity about his music, life, and era. There are future biopics, TV series, or stage productions that offer fresh perspectives can play a similar role. The key is to make these projects feel contemporary and relevant, not just historical recounts. This requires collaborating with modern storytellers who can translate his legend into current cultural language. Diversification beyond music and Graceland will continue to be vital. The estate may explore new avenues in fashion, lifestyle brands, or even educational content. Curating compelling narratives through documentaries and historical analyses that emphasize his impact on music, civil rights, and popular culture can elevate his status beyond mere entertainment, making him a subject of academic and cultural interest for generations to come. This ensures he is seen as a historically significant figure, not just a performer. The long-term management of his intellectual property is paramount. As music consumption habits change, the estate will need to negotiate new licensing deals for streaming, gaming, and emerging platforms. Protecting his image and name from misuse in the metaverse or other digital realms will become increasingly complex. The partnership with Authentic Brands Group ABG in 2013 was a significant step, bringing a company specialized in long-term brand management and global marketing expertise. This kind of professional, forward-thinking management will be essential. Ultimately, the future of Elvis's economic empire relies on its ability to make Elvis a timeless concept, continually reinvented for each new generation. It's about ensuring his music remains accessible, his story remains compelling, and his image remains iconic, even for those born a century after his birth. This requires a delicate balance of preservation and innovation, respecting the past while boldly embracing the future. But can any amount of innovation truly replicate the magic of a live performer for generations who will never experience it? Will the constant push for newness eventually alienate the very fans who built his initial empire? And who will be the next visionary leader within the estate to guide the brand through an unpredictable future, given that the current generation of custodians is also aging?